that is going to bring the control system down. Because people, and I understand it, they look at what is happening in the world and how the control system is imposing itself more and more every day on the surface. But there are other forces at work here, and that control system is coming down. And something else, Rebecca, that I've understood more and more as the years have gone, that it's no coincidence that as these truth vibrations manifest themselves and affect people more and more, wake people up from the amnesia, from the density, from the five sense prison, that this is the very same period when this control system is trying to impose the more and more extreme versions of the Orwellian global state, more and more control, more and more stuff in food and drink that destabilizes the body electrochemically. The microchipping agenda, where they want to microchip every child at birth, eventually, that's what they want, necessarily they're going to get, is about, on one level, yes, electronic tagging, seeing where everyone is at any time. But the real reason for that is to externally manipulate the receiver-transmitter system, if you like, the body, the crystalline body computer, as I call it, through which our consciousness experiences this reality we call visible light, this tiny frequency range we call visible light. And the idea is to manipulate the body's receiver transmission system so that we do not start to expand our ability to access these higher vibrations I call the truth vibrations, and we stay in these low density states of fear and frustration and all these low vibrational states that hold us in servitude. See, society is structured to stimulate maximum fear, maximum stress, maximum frustration, maximum anger and hatred and all these things, because these states are low vibrational states of being. And if you're in a low vibrational state of being, just as radio A is not going to sync with radio B because they're on different wavelengths, so a density is not going to sync with high levels of vibration, where real understanding, awareness, knowledge, and love in its true sense express themselves. So I see this now massive, and round of applause, good thing. This massive research arena to expose the conspiracy, which has built up over the last few years, but to really understand what is happening in terms of the banking scams and the manipulated wars and the Orwellian surveillance agenda, we've really got to understand the nature of reality itself, because the bottom line of it all is to hold us in a low vibrational state so that we do not access the true magnitude, the higher levels of infinite consciousness that we really are. We don't access them while in the physical body, what we call physical anyway, and therefore we are completely at the mercy of the five senses. And of course, when you are getting everything through the five senses to get try to get a grip or a grasp on who you are and where you are and what's going on, you're going to look into the five sense reality to get that information. So where do we look? We look to the education system, we look to the media, we look to our peers and what have you. And if you can disconnect what you call incarnate consciousness from higher levels of itself beyond this reality, and then program the five sense level of being with a fake sense of self, a fake sense of the world, a fake sense of reality by controlling the sources of information that we receive at that level, then what you're doing is you're isolating people from their true self and then programming the fake self. And that's why people live their entire lives like an actor. You know, all the world's a stage and we are the players. We're acting a part. It's not who we are. You know, it's like being on a bus sitting at the back and someone else has got their hands on the wheel in terms of the direction it's going and all the rest of it. And so getting out of what I call mind, which is this mind-body level of perception and into what I call consciousness, that which is the eternal self, is the revolution. It is the transformation. Because once you move your point of observation from five sense reality alone to higher levels of consciousness, then you see this world in a completely different way, because you're looking at it from a completely different point of observation. In which case our lives transform and our perception of self and the world transforms. And this is what the truth vibrations are doing. They're teasing open that mind by breaking down the density that we've lived with all this time.
And, first of all, I want to get back to some of your earlier comments and kind of comment through as we go along here. You talk about your book being controversial, and in all truth and honesty, in my perspective, this particular book, as you're talking about it, is probably one of the most controversial. But David, that is your kind of your mission, I guess, is to be controversial, because in that controversy, it opens people up. Even though some people may get angry or they may poo-poo it or whatever their reaction is to it, it still has planted a seed for somewhere along the line that perhaps maybe there's something to what you've been saying all these years. So that's what you call the truth vibration. And I have seen such a tremendous amount. I don't know, you see so many people all the time. You're just an extremely busy man, and you interact with an awful lot of people. But I'm sure in your own circle of acquaintances and friends and family that you yourself have probably witnessed these truth vibrations, and that's an absolutely fantastic term, at work, at play, if you will, and watch people literally from one day to the next. It seems like they're getting it. They're getting it.
Well, this is an interesting point, because over the last 20 years, I've seen this transformation happen. When I started out 2 decades ago, people just laughed at me. There was no real sign that there was any transformation coming. But all these years later, my goodness me, and what's interesting, Rebecca, to me, is that I'm seeing people moving, if you like, distances in terms of perception, yes, massive distances very, very quickly. And you can do this. Once the veil lifts, then you can move very fast, because there's like a line, there's like a Rubicon, and when you cross it, and that line is a certain level of perception of what reality is, suddenly things fall into place so fast, because you're no longer looking from a fake, false perspective to try to get a fix on the world. You're looking from a perspective of seeing the world as it really is. And then all these mysteries and questions and stuff, they start to fall. They're not mysteries anymore. So many mysteries are only mysteries because we've been looking at them from the wrong point of what is reality. Correct. This is why science has all these cul-de-sacs all over in its various disciplines, where it can't go any further if the paradigm that it has been saying is how life is and how the world is and the universe is correct. Right. Okay? You can't. You've got to rethink or know the way that reality works. And then these cul-de-sacs, which are cul-de-sacs because there are major questions eventually that simply can't be answered on the basis of this is how reality is, then those questions just answer themselves. It's so obvious. And I know that there are more and more mainstream scientists who are looking at my books, and this one takes that whole side massive step forward. Wow, and are saying, well, hold on a second, maybe this does make sense, because if what this fellow's saying is true, then we can answer this mystery, we can answer that mystery, and answer that mystery, because they're not mysteries. If you are looking for someone, and you look everywhere except where they are, because you refuse to go where they are, then you're going to come back and say, oh no, can't be found. There's no sign of them. They've gone missing. They've disappeared. But they're not disappeared. They're actually where you are refusing to go. And this is where mainstream science is. it refuses to go where the answers lie. Why? Because science